You gotta have house music all night long. With Manchester Made Me Funky.
Hi, it's Hussey. Manchester Made Me Funky. House music's meant everything to me because it's provided me with an income and a lifestyle since I was, I don't know, 18 years old was the first time I had a record out. So, and I'm a little bit older now, so I never planned to get into music, to house music, anything. I couldn't, when I was at school, I couldn't play any instruments. I didn't have a clue, but I love music and I used to, do cassettes and stuff like that and sell them at school, make a bit of an income then. And then started doing records, making records. House music wasn't around so much, there's only a few records out, so I got in at the forefront of it and had a few, sort of big hits, I guess. And that set me on a path of making music. I never thought house music would provide me with an income and a lifestyle for all these years since I had my first track out. I thought it was going to be, 1 or 2 years maximum, and that was in the 90s, and it's 2021 now, so I owe house music a lot. My life would have been a whole lot different. I don't know if it would have been better. It might have been a lot better, but it's given me the life I've had, and I can't complain it. I've gone all over the world and DJed in some amazing places, and I still really enjoy it. I still really enjoy making tunes every day and getting up and going to the studio, and getting on a plane and flying to a gig and meeting new people, and I really enjoy it. So house music means a huge amount to me. How many tunes have I made this week? I'm not sure. I couldn't. I've no idea. I've been doing it, 30 years, and like last week, I probably made 6 tunes last week, because I produced for lots of different people, lots of DJs and lots of different artists, lots of singers. I write for lots of different people. I'm doing a whole lot of music, so they're not necessarily out in my name, but I've still made an awful lot of songs. What am I most proudest of? It's really difficult to say. I did one with Rachel McFarlane a few years ago. It never came out, and I really, really like that, and I really, really should do something about it. I'm not sure which one I'm most proud of. Some of the early ones, like Nothing Lasts Forever and Different Story by Boa and Rhythm of Life Touched Me, they were pretty special because they were the first of a genre. We hadn't really, there wasn't that kind of music, so we were breaking down rules and making tunes which no one else made before. So I guess I'm proud of that because there was, there's no rules and there's no guide to do it. So because it was so new, that's why I'm proud of it. For vocally house again, Sandy B was a big one because it was really early on, and it was sort of very housey, but it wasn't your traditional house, and it had a big vocal on top, so that was a groundbreaking track. There was a few at that time, Soul Searcher, Feeling Love, these kind of tracks. They were at a time, about 96, I think, 97, which where it all got a bit hard and a bit too much, and these were the things that were coming out of that scene, which were a bit more chilled out, a bit more funky, and a bit more, they had vocals that you could relate to and you could sing as opposed to just a snippet of the word. So I guess those 2 tracks were really big for me, getting into funky house kind of era. Okay, yeah, Soul Searcher, Feeling Love, that was a big one. Sunset to Sunrise, is that funky house? I'm not sure, but it's a big vocal house, it's enormous. What else? Funky house, is Sandy B funky house? I'm not sure, but it's the start of an era. You put me on the spot now, Mike. 1 second, can I think about this? I don't know, there's too many to choose from. I should have written this down before I came.
About Sandy Riviera Forever, that always reminds me of Nick Hussey.
Is that a Nick Hussey tune?
It reminds me of Nick Hussey.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, okay, yeah. There's Rise as well by who's that by, Mike?
Soul Providers.
Soul Providers. Yeah, that's a really big one. Oh, what else? How many are we up to now?
Give us one more.
One more. Gamba Freaks.
What's that called?
Down, down, get down. I've just covered it. It's out today. Bit of a plug. Technology has killed my income. It's changed the dance floor. Back in the day, before everyone could download the same tunes, there was a certain amount of us that there was limited promos. So when the promos came out, there was a handful of DJs in Manchester, probably about 5 or 6 DJs in Manchester, which got these tunes in advance of everybody else. So if a nightclub wanted these records played in their club, they had to employ one of us, me or Parky or Dave Dunn or a few others. So we sort of had a monopoly on it because we could charge what we wanted to an extent. Obviously can't get carried away, but we had a decent wage out of it because we'd spend a lot of money. Half our wages actually went on vinyl, so we weren't actually making a load of money, but we got all the gigs because there's only a certain limited amount of vinyl. So when technology changed, that meant that everybody could get the same records. Everybody was just playing the same records then. It got a bit boring because people were just downloading the first top 10 off Beatport and playing the same top 10 from Beatport and so on and so forth. And then people started making records and the quality of the records wasn't as high initially, because anybody could do it a lot easier, which, there's two aspects to that, because there's a lot more people making music which didn't before, and a lot of them are really talented which would have never been able to do that, but also there's a lot of crap, so there's a deluge of music now, so to find these gems, which there are gems, it's a lot more difficult to search, whereas before when we were getting vinyl, you got a limited number and you could tell straight away, you could find the good tunes that easily. Now you've really got to hunt for them. So it's changed music, changed the dance floor. The dance floor is a dance floor. If it's going off, it's going off. Punters aren't interested, how much you paid for that record, where you got it from. They're only interested if it's a good record, end of. So it's not changed the dance floor aspect of it, but it's changed the DJing aspect of it, yes, certainly. House music, it's going very funky again. It's, this is a great time for Manchester Made Me Funky, because funky house music is back on top again now. You've got disco house. It's sort of rebranded as this disco house, but essentially it's funky house. So if you're looking a lot of the charts in the Tracksource charts, for example, it's new disco. It's basically the same stuff we were doing, 10, 15 years ago, but it's rebranded. So there's lots of really good stuff out at the moment. So I'm very optimistic. It's good music, people can dance to, people can relate to, people can sing the song, and it reminds you of a good, happy time, as opposed to some of the tech house, which is like, it's got a bit of a different vibe, so I think it's a really positive time for happy music. I mean, we all need happy music at this time. We need something that's going to put a smile on our face, because we've been inside for so long, being depressed during the winter. We want something that's going to make us smile. Funky house is going to do that. It depends on the record, really. Everybody wants different things out of house music, because music isn't one thing or another. House music is a different thing for a different person, and everybody's got their own thing what they see in house music, so there's not a formula. You can make music which makes some people happy, but it's going to be completely different for somebody else. So as long as it's got a decent beat, a nice bass line, that's imperative. You can put whatever you want on top of it, but decent beat and a bass line, I think, is the important things. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be like nothing that Manchester's ever seen. I've seen all the plans for it, and it's going to be unbelievable. The production value is just off the scale. I've been to some events. I think it's on par with some of the events you see in like Miami and places like that, where there's a lot goes into production value. So it's not just the ordinary, you pay your money, go through the door and dance, then go home. It's going to be spectacular, really spectacular, and you won't get involved. Yeah, any advice? Don't do it. No, it's hard for me to say. I got in at a good time, timing is everything, because there's nobody else doing it, basically. That's the only reason I've done well, because nobody else was stupid enough to get involved in it. Now it's really difficult because there's so many people doing it, and the amount of skill that's involved in just playing music is less than it used to be, because you can sync things. But if you're going to do tricks, like loop things, filter things, and make the most out of being able to sync your decks, you've got to stand out in the crowd. You've got to do something that's different than everybody else. Obviously, tune selection's imperative, but what you do there, reading the crowd's really important. And if you want to excel, you've got to be making music yourself. You can't just be in an environment now where you're going to play over people's records. You need to throw something in there, something you've made, something that's different, something that not every DJ is going to have. If the DJ's got the same records as you, why would people employ you to, over them? It's going to be the same. It comes down to price and social media activity. Do something different that stands out, and that's where you're going to stand out as a DJ. Promoters, good luck. I don't know what else to say. I think there's going to be a bit of a boom from what's been happening over the last couple of years. People really want to go out again, so there's going to be opportunities. It's just having the balls to do it, because obviously it's going to cost money to put on these events. It's going to cost a lot of work, and is the event going to be viable at the end of the day? Are you going to let people in there? What's going to happen? So it's a really difficult time. So if you are a promoter, best of luck to you, because it is a stressful time for everybody. House music, where do you start? Music's healing. Whenever I'm in a not a fantastic place, because we've all been through stuff like this, the only thing that really cheers me up instantly is music. I can put a house track on and instantly been transported back to Ibiza or back to anywhere, middle of a dance floor, a good time in my life, and you instantly get that feeling back from house music. There's something that's going to bring us all together, and house music's top of the list in my book.
If somebody's watching this and they are struggling, what would you recommend? Get some tunes on.
Get some tunes on, back it up. Manchester and its club scene over the last 30 years. It's been one hell of a ride. Well, for me, it started at a place called The Kitchen in Hume, Moss Side, which was 2 flats knocked together with a drill, and everyone used to go back to Hacienda after the Hacienda and party to the wee small hours. And that was the sort of first club environment I've been in. I've been into other clubs, sort of normal glitzy clubs before then, but house music was just starting, and I went there and I was like, wow, what's this? And then from that I got me involved to Hacienda, which was just, it was completely life-changing. People say it's a bit of a cliche, but it really was. You went to this environment and everyone's hugging each other, and the music, and it just felt amazing. And then for me, that's when I started doing a club called Prague 5, and that was really sort of start of funky house then, and it was just an excellent vibe. Everybody got dressed up where they hadn't previously done that, and then it was on to Berlin, which was similar, and Loaf. So it was all funky house for me at the time. Then obviously you got Sankeys, started playing tech. So it's an up and down ride, but it's always been at the forefront of everywhere in the whole world. I used to go out and DJ in Italy quite a lot, and all the Italian DJs would be saying, so what's going on in Manchester? Everybody knew about Manchester. Everybody knew the club scene in Manchester was leading the way. It always has done, and we need to, once this whole COVID bullshit's gone, we need to get back up there and get reclaim our crown right at the top of the clubbing scene for the whole world. There's other stuff going on in the world now, but you know, we've got the potential to do so much in this city, and events like Manchester Made Me Funky are just, you know, what we need. Manchester, does it have its own sound? There's so many genres come out of Manchester because we've got to remember we were the start of house music. You know, obviously you got Detroit, Chicago, and some places in London, but Manchester was right at the very start of it. So from that, there's so many genres spawned in Manchester and, you know, become big. So in lots of different genres, you know, drum and bass and techno and obviously funky vocal house and tech house, we've got pioneers, you know. Salado in this day and age, you know, tech house, these are pioneers now. These are smashing it, they're putting Manchester on the map. There's so many different artists from Manchester. So you speak to different people around the world that are into one kind of music, you know, say techno, and they see Manchester as the base of it. You know, funky house, you speak to people in Ibiza and they'll talk about Manchester. Everyone talks about Manchester, so it's got a huge amount to be, you know, proud of Manchester in the house music scene for all the genres that it's so strong in. It's just that beat that makes you dance. That's it. It's a huge team. Every part of a nightclub and an event is imperative. We couldn't exist without each other. Every single part. I mean, I don't know where we'd be. It's, you know, the DJ obviously takes the stage in the forefront, but without the door staff, without the pot collectors, without the bar staff, without the managers that put the events on and the promoters that put the events on, none of it would happen. Obviously, you know, the punters are the main part, because without punters there's no point in doing it, but we're all in this together. You know, so many people play a vital part of a night, which when you're going out as a punter you don't necessarily think of. You know, you go to see a DJ or something, you don't think about all of the people involved to make your night, you know, the most memorable night of your life sometimes. You know, so we're in a big team, we've all got to remember that. I'm Nick Hussey and Manchester Made Me Funky.
You gotta have house music all night long with Manchester Made Me Funky.